Engineering for Families is not a set of instructions about how to build things. It's about an exploration of the process of engineering, because that's what engineering is. It's not just about the things that you build, but it's about how you get there. So what we've got for you is a set of prompts and activities that enable families to explore different materials and mechanisms to solve design problems that are inspired by engineers. In the first session, The Structural Engineer, you'll be challenging families to build towers using index cards like these. You'll find that they're quite quickly able to put those cards together to build quite a sturdy tower. But of course, we're trying to explore the processes of engineering, not just the final product. So often as I go around to different families to talk about what they're up to, I'll congratulate them on what a brilliant tower they've made, but then I'll start to dismantle that tower in front of them and ask them to try and use the same materials, but maybe rolling them into tubes or cutting them and stitching them together that way, to help them explore the different possibilities, but also to give them permission to start again and try things that are new. They're also practicing working together as a family, and they're really going to need those skills for some of the later challenges. Session 2 casts families as civil engineers, using the same materials as before, but to build bridges. Once you start building bridges and testing them, you start breaking bridges. Lots of bridges. And here's a great opportunity to talk to families about how and why things fail. Get them to predict what's going to happen when they put on a mass onto the bridge, and think about how they can solve problems before they've even happened. If we get families thinking like that, we get them thinking like real engineers. Families have built towers, they've built bridges, and in session 3, they'll be aeronautical engineers, building things that fly. Like, well, this piece of paper is going to be a fish tumbler. It's probably the simplest thing they will build on this course. One snip at the bottom, turn it on one on the other side, and then slot these together. And you fly this by gently throwing it in the air. You need to be standing up to make it work properly. These are really easy to make, and you'll be making 20 or 30 of these in the session. And you can quite quickly start changing the thicknesses, different types of paper, and testing them lots and lots of times and observing them as they fall. At this point, children quite often take over on that testing, and there's a really important skill here that we want parents and children to do together: observation, watching what happens as they drop the tumbler. They'll need that skill for the next activity, the hoop glider. The hoop glider is just as simple to make. It's 2 hoops of paper which are taped onto a bamboo skewer. And you can throw it. Oh, mine wasn't great. There's lots of things I could do to improve it. And families will do that as well. They'll change the size of the hoop, the number of bamboo skewers, to see if they can get a hoop glider that glides better. The activity can get quite chaotic, so encourage families just to change one thing at once. Next session, we've got to step up in complexity. Families will be automotive engineers who work together to build a carriage that rolls. Now, all those skills of working together that families have practiced previously are going to be important in this build. I'd suggest that you get the adults to do things like cut out the wheels so that children can concentrate on working out how to put them together and to design the best carriage. One of the tricky parts here is working out how to get your wheels moving freely on the carriage. You can do this with a straw and a bamboo skewer. This isn't immediately obvious to families, so if you wander around and talk to them about what they're doing, you could possibly be fiddling with this, and some of them might pick up that it's a solution to the problem, but some families might need a little bit more guidance, and you can show them how to build it. Got 2 straws here and here, and you can see how we now have an axle that rolls. The next thing to think about is how to power the vehicle. There's lots of ways to do that, but you might use balloons. Here I've attached a balloon to a straw with some strong tape and inflated it, and if I let go, yours will be better. In the Marine Engineer, families will be using the same materials to build boats. They'll need to think about how to waterproof these, so having cling film and kitchen foil and waterproof tape will be really important. They'll also want to start to power their boat partway through the session, and you can do this by creating a paddle. It's 2 pieces of card slotted together with an elastic band, and you can spin it up to make a paddle. Now I can feel that elastic band pulling in on my fingers, so you'll need to find a way of bracing it along here. Once it's in the water, it should paddle the boat along. The final session pairs together engineering disciplines to create engineering design challenges. Families might build amphibious vehicles or bridges that move. These are quite tricky challenges, but with all the skills they developed over the previous weeks, they should be successful. You'll find everything else you need to run the course in the training notes. We've included information about the materials that you'll need for each session, how to ensure a good gender balance in the room, and also how we've treated careers and the engineering workplace across each of the disciplines. I've really enjoyed delivering engineering for families, and I hope you do too.